everyone. Sorry about the wait and the technical difficulties. We could full screen it.
F11.
We can put it back out then, that's okay. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, my name is Kilie Moore, and during my time in France, I explored how perfume functions as more than just a product for French people. It serves as a blend of art, chemistry, and emotional expression. Before I start, think about a scent that instantly brings you back to a memory. Maybe a perfume, a food, a person, or even a place. For me, as soon as I smell cheese now, I think of my host family back in France. And there was a specific interviewer who was telling me about that. I think it was him. And now, at the dinner table when I was talking to my family about my project, they were like, well, we have this cheese in our fridge for you. And I was just immediately repulsed. But it's forever stayed in my brain, that memory of being with my host family. So I wanted to understand how scent operates on multiple levels in France, from creation to advertising, and to the process of choosing a scent directly in everyday life. So I asked the question, how does French culture approach scent as a blend of art, chemistry, and emotion, and how does that differ from American perspectives? I honed in on the daily habits, personal identity, the emotional connection, and some of the differences. Now, why choose France for something like this? That is because France is the global center of perfume. For centuries on end, all of these exports here from all around the world all make their way into France to be created and distilled into multiple perfumes through multiple companies. And they have a long history and cultural value with perfume. Now, the way I went about my project, I conducted interviews with French students and my host mother to understand personal habits and cultural perspectives. I asked questions like, do you wear perfume every day or only from time to time? Or, avez-vous porté des parfums tous les jours ou seulement de temps en temps? Or, how did you choose your perfume? Comment as-tu choisi ton parfum? And do you think perfume is important in French culture? I also visited major perfume factories and museums like Fragonard and Givenchy in Beauvais. Now, for daily use and habits, what I found is that most students wore perfume daily and saw it as a part of routine. However, it is subtly applied, and whereas in the United States, it can be more heavily applied and can be used for special occasions. As for choice and identity, something that I found was that there was a personal meaning to it, the way people chose their perfumes. It wasn't based off trends or what was at the moment, right? It was the idea of having a signature scent. And I have a quote from here that says, "Ça montre ton identité," which is Elizabeth's host student. And so it shows your identity, and so it's very carefully chosen. My host student as well told me how she went through the process of going to Sephora for plus de weeks on end, just trying to choose her perfume that fits her specifically. Almost everyone connected scent to emotion, the smell of bread and coffee, and a mother's scent, and using perfume as gifts. Perfume isn't just used for aesthetics here, it's deeply psychological. While people in both cultures experience scent emotionally, in France, this connection seems more intentional and more recognized. And I have a quote from a student here. "L'odeur de pain chaud me réconforte." The smell of warm bread comforts me. Hold on, we can go back. Sorry. And what I found in Fragonard also, when I was blending perfume, they had a perfume called Vert de Grasse. So their idea was to capture the smells of grass in one perfume. And that is different from trying to follow a trend. It's something that's very traditional and very purposeful. Now, as for the connection to chemistry, scent is linked to the limbic system in the brain. That is directly tied to memories and emotions. And here, which is also taken in Fragonard, it says le mémoire olfactif est le plus puissant et persistant des différentes mémoires du cerveau humain. The olfactive memory is the most powerful and persistent of different memories of your brain. So, olfactive memory connects directly to your emotions and your memory, and that's why scents can trigger the most strongest feelings and memories. Now, at Fragonard, I learned mostly about the history of perfume and the history of the bottles, all the way dating back to 17th century, and here I took pictures of the 18th century bottles when they started to make them with gold and make them very extra and very decorated because that was popular at the time. And this here is the first bottle of Fragonard La Belle de Nuit. So, we can go to the next slide. I also learned about the distillation process. Even to this day, they use this for their distillation. Now it looks very, very old school because it is. It dates back all the way to the 18th century. But here they take the flowers and they press them in paper. Then they take them in the distillation thing where it becomes an extract to then be used by perfumers. This is what a perfumer would use to make perfumes. They would put all of their scents all around and then smell each one and blend them. Now, getting to Givenchy was very difficult. It's a very private and closed factory, and Madame Whittington knows this story very well. As we toured the government building, Hotel de Ville, on our second to last day, we happened to run into the mayor, and he told me that he knew someone at the Givenchy factory that could get me connected. So on my last day in Beauvais, I got to visit the Givenchy factory. And there, I got to see the evolution of bottle designs for Givenchy. From the 2000s, you can see that it was very colorful and the scents were very fruity because that was what was popular at the time. But now, trends are leaning more unisex. However, the men's market is still very strong, and things like Gentlemen's Society, they don't plan on going anywhere. But something that remains traditional is l'interdit. They even keep the same bottle from what they've been using for years on end. Now, getting to actually step into the factory, and here I have a picture of me with Madame Whitney and Madame Whittington. We got to see the production process of the bottles. Now, the juice in the bottle is never touched by air. It goes directly from a room where 3 people work. They work to add the alcohol and the coloring of the perfume. Then it is taken through pipes all around the building and then directly transported into glass bottles. It has minimal human contact and is completely automatic, except for when it messes up. That is the only time that a person would step in and make sure that everything is running smoothly. Now, this factory in Beauvais is one of the first, and it is because the creator of Givenchy, Hubert de Givenchy, or Hubert, he was originally born in Beauvais. Over here. At the factories, I saw how perfumes are carefully constructed. Each scent in its bottle is carefully designed to evoke a specific feeling. This is where chemistry and artistry come together. At Fragonard, I got to blend my own personal mix of perfumes. From what I observed, French perfume production emphasizes tradition and craftsmanship, while American fragrance culture can be more trend and commercial driven. Now, from my personal experience, one of the most challenging parts was navigating student interviews in a new environment. Going to a school where people mostly speak French and having to ask questions to strangers was very difficult. But I got a very wonderful experience that I couldn't get anywhere else. I was immersed in the culture and got to see firsthand how French people interact with perfume. And I just took observations in my daily life of how they advertise and how they interact with scent. In conclusion, scent is very well tied to memory and emotion in France. They hold a very historical, deep tie with scent, and it is very important to the French people. So the perfume that I blended, especially, it was very great. However, I didn't close it all the way, so it spilled all in my bag. So I get to keep the scent in my bag all times, but I don't get to share it with other people. Well, I wanted to just thank everyone. We can go to the next slide, because that's my little.